So since tomorrow's Canada Day, I'm proud of one thing for sure. My both sons are Canadian. Every time I wake up in the morning, I hear one of my sons scream, "Dada! I'm done in the bathroom. You gotta come and clean me up." My second son gets up if I'm still in bed. "Dada! Dada!" That's how he wakes me up. I'm used to waking up to these sounds rather than the sound of an alarm clock. Why? Because they are the sweet voices of my sons, my own flesh and blood. Mr. Sheriff, fellow Toastmasters, this is a story about my two sons, Sahil and Nirav. Both the boys have actually two things in common. First thing is, they were both born prematurely. And the second most important thing is, when they were born, they didn't breathe for a couple of seconds. When you're in the hospital room waiting for your children to come out and they're not breathing, those milliseconds, those seconds seem like an eternity when a proud father is waiting to hold them in their arms. And that's exactly how I felt. The three things that I've learned from my sons are smile, curiosity, and of course, I sometimes will live in the moment. So let me explain. Do you ever come home from a day where you've had bad things happen to you? It frequently happens to me. So if I would come through the door, this is how I am. My youngest son would run to me saying, "Dada!" And my other son would say, "Hey, Dad, you're home." And they would both embrace me. At that moment, doesn't matter if my friend degraded me, doesn't matter if through the day one of my customers said, "Your sell pitch doesn't work, get out of my office," or even if someone I respected told me, "Just get out, I don't want to see you," or what have you. These little things have no ability to affect me anymore when I have these two boys in my arms. Everything just fades away. All the bad things, of course, fades away. What about when you're focusing on a big project and you just can't come up with the idea that you're looking for? One of my sons would come to me and say, "Dad, let's play a game, let's go out, play ball, or anything. Let's do something together." I put that project aside and I start playing with my kids. And while playing, after just about 3 minutes of finishing the game or playing ball, we get that, aha, that's the idea I was looking for. Sahil, Nirav, you guys should have came to me before, and if we would have played, I would have had that idea way before. Now, as you guys know, I'm a last minute person, so of course, last minute I get those ideas. Great, I'm having those aha moments. So how do kids get curious in a fashionable manner? Well, Sahil's always been curious. They always ask questions that sometimes we don't have as parents, we don't have the answer to. I know I don't have all the answers in the book. For example, my son would say, "Why are there stars in the sky?" And I'd be like, "Let me Google that." Right? You've been there. Great. So we end up Googling, why are there stars at night, or who are you on the cell phone with? That's the other famous question that my son asked, because my wife's sitting right on the dining table, and while I'm talking to one of my clients who's a female, and my son will be asking, "Who are you talking to on the cell phone? Why are you talking to her?" Or her best question is, "Dad, are you taking me to McDonald's?" "Well, we just went in the morning. This is nighttime." "No, you didn't answer my question. Are we going to McDonald's?" No. So, kids have the ability to ask you 10 million questions. Do you have the ability to answer them? Not all of them, to your best ability, but at the same time, you try to answer as best as you can. Sahil is actually says sesquipedalian because the words he chooses to use in his daily conversation is beyond my needs. I'm a college graduate, but I'm not a genius. My son is, mind you. So how do I live in the moment? It's when I'm sleeping at night and I have my oldest son on my right arm with his head on my chest and my youngest son on my other arm with his head on my chest. And I'm hearing them breathe. I'm hearing their heartbeats. That's when everything stops. And you're living in the moment because you have both your sons on top of you. And you're hearing their heartbeat and you're listening to them sleep. And as I'm listening to them sleep, I know, you're probably thinking, well, how can you hear them sleep? I am. I'm the father. I'm their father. I can hear everything, whether they know it or whether they don't. At the same time, that's when I want the time to stop. Just freeze at that moment. And I always wish that the clock that's ticking would just stop right there and then. That's how I live in the moment. What about smile? I mean, you look at any kids. There's an old saying. People love their kids, but other people's women. It's an Indian saying. I hope it translated. But my point is, you always look at the kids and they make you smile, whether it's your kids or someone else's. My boys always put a smile on my face. As soon as I see them do something, puts a smile on my face. How is smile important? Well, doesn't that take away 75% of your worries? Doesn't that take away 75% of your negative thoughts that are in your mind, just smiling? I mean, why don't we do that? Why don't we all just smile more often than we have to? Why do we have to think about before we smile? Why not just smile? So, the things I learned from my own sons is smile, live in the moment, as well as be curious. That's it. So, again, you learn a lot of things from your kids. These are the three things that I'm most proud of learning from my sons. Smile, be curious, and live in the moment. Mr. Toastmaster.